welcome back to my channel. I have notes on my phone here, so if I keep looking down, that's the reason why. A bit of info on this whole series. This first video is gonna be mostly about the whys and hows, the background, the planning, the idea, and then I have plans to go into detail about how I actually made the pattern, the whole mock-up process, and how I did the skirt, all the different pieces that went into it. I'm also going to talk about some of the specifics I ended up altering later. So I added straps to my strapless design because I realized I want straps. Why wouldn't I have straps? So a bit of background information on me. My grandmother taught me to sew as a child. She was a really great seamstress and she would always have projects for me and my cousins when we went to visit. She taught me everything I know. Well, that's not true anymore, but she taught me all of the basics. And I kept up sewing. So I've been sewing on and off for ever, it feels like. But in the past 10 years, I really started honing my skills and sewing as my own hobby and as something I did frequently. My grandmother gave me my first sewing machine, actually. I had that beast for 10 years, I think, before it gave up, and then I bought my new one back here. My husband and I got married a little over a year ago, but it was just a small, intimate ceremony. I was very pregnant at the time, so we decided to have a big party later. And we decided we had to have a date for that, otherwise we would not get around to having the party. So it's in February 2024. I'm very excited for that. And this was an opportunity where I ended up making my own dress. I am filming this prior to the actual wedding, so I'm definitely gonna film a reflection video. How was it actually to wear? Did it work out the way I thought it would? Was it comfortable? Could I breathe in it? Could I eat in it? I hadn't thought I would have the time or the skills to make my own wedding dress. But here we are, and I have a dress, and I want to share with you how that all came about. When else are you gonna wear a big poofy dress? And I really wanted to have that experience. I went bridal dress shopping. I found a store in the Copenhagen area that did actually second-hand dresses, because that was something I was really interested in. Side tangent here, I know how much effort goes into making wedding dresses, and there's like a whole environmental impact of new garments, and I felt icky about it. Also, the cost is, I mean, it's a lot of money for a dress you're gonna wear for one day. Unfortunately, they didn't have a whole lot of options, specifically size-wise, so none of the second-hand dresses actually fit me. I was too big, yay. They did have a range of new dresses as well, of course, and I had checked out the bigger sizes because I had an inkling I would be too big to fit into their like regular stuff. Such is life. So I ended up trying on some new dresses as well, and I fell in love with one of them. It was gorgeous, and it made me feel amazing. I was prepared to buy a dress. I mean, it's a once-in-a-lifetime occasion, but I left that appointment thinking, ooh, it was really pretty. How did they make it? Ooh, that fabric was interesting. What is that? How would I do it? There was just this part of me that was thinking, you really want to try and do it yourself. I talked to my mother and she was gung-ho. She's like, let's do it. Let's make your own dress. Because I had fallen in love with the dress, I mean, I love the design of it. I set out to recreate it in my own way, in my own version, and that was really the starting point of this whole adventure. I decided to make it a two-piece. I didn't want to have to figure out how to get the bodice to hold up the weight of the skirt. So actually the wedding dress is a wedding skirt and a wedding top, I guess. Another thing I also have worked into this has been size adjustability. Because of the timing of when I started this project and where I am now, my weight has fluctuated a lot, my size has fluctuated a lot. Thank you, postpartum, but that's just the way of life. And luckily, I think I've ended up with something that can accommodate that kind of fluctuation, which is really cool. So the decision has been made. I was gonna try to make my own dress. I was gonna go for it. First thing was fabric. When I was looking at the dress I tried on in the store, The fabric was, honestly, it wasn't that comfortable. It was very heavy weight, and it had a hold. It like stood up on its own. The fabric was really stiff, and almost coarse actually to the touch. They did say it was a type of silk, but it's not like any silk I'd ever met before. So I knew to get that kind of structure, I would need something with a similar type of body. I did some online searching. The fabric was really, really expensive. Honestly, the thought of using that much money on fabric alone, I wouldn't have dared cut into it. Okay, rolling back. In high school, I made my own prom dress, and I made that out of some basic poly satin that I got at a local store. So I had worked with the material before. I actually had some of it left over that I started working on my first mock-up in. So I kind of had an idea of how that fabric would behave. And the cost was a lot less than the expensive swatches I looked at. I don't know if it was just me, but I didn't like any of the whites they had. They did have like specific bridal satin. They all just had like a yellow tinge to them. Another thought going through my mind when I thought of making a dress that wasn't white was also reusability. It's a huge amount of fabric to buy for a one-off dress, especially since I ended up going with the poly satin, which is essentially plastic and it will never degrade and it'll be here forever. I wanted something I could use again. My husband's family are big into fancy dressing for New Year's and other big occasions, so if I made something that I could reuse, I actually have occasions where something like this, maybe not in its full form, but like parts of it, I could wear them again. You know what? I'm already married. I mean, who says that the dress has to be white? There was this bolt of fabric and it was calling my name, and I had a gut feeling that it would be the right one, and I had a gut feeling that my husband would really, really like it. So I bought 12 meters of it. It's called Warm Brown. I'll link it in the description below. The color is beautiful. It reminds me of a grown-up version of Belle's dress from Beauty and the Beast. I only have scraps left. I stabilized the fabric of the bodice with this tightly woven cotton that I had in my stash. I think it must have been a tablecloth maybe at some point. I probably got it secondhand. And then the bodice is also lined. Again, I only have scraps left, but I used this really fun autumn print. It's a very lightweight cotton. My grandmother gave me this fabric for my 18th birthday, if I remember correctly. My budget going into all of this was to kind of hit what the original dress had cost. So that was around 15,000 Danish kroner. The fabric in the local store was cheap enough that honestly, if I didn't like how it looked, I could go out and buy more or buy something else and have treated it as a mock-up. Luckily, I loved it. I also went through my expenses. I didn't actually keep a tally of what I ended up spending, but based on the numbers I can find, I think I've roughly spent 3,000 kroner on the fabric, materials, notions, new accessories I didn't have. Yeah, all in all, that is like a ridiculously low amount compared to what it would have cost me to buy the dress from new. And of course, the dress I ended up with is completely unique and it's mine, and I'm really, really proud of it. It looks so good and I can't wait to wear it. To kind of sum all of this up, I've been working on this dress for 8 months as of filming this. I am so close to being finished. I think I'm missing 5 hooks and eyes, something along those lines, and then I'm done, completely done with everything. I did a rough estimate and I think I've spent around 200 hours on it. over the course of the past 8 months. Thank you to my husband for giving me that time. I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next time. Bye bye. Another funny story I want to tell you. I got the fabric home on a big bolt. They had rolled it up for me, all 12 meters of it, and I wanted to pre-wash it. I mean, this isn't a garment I'm going to be wearing often, but I would like the option to wash it. But I thought it would be best, and I was afraid to cut it up prior, because what if it then shrunk more than I had thought? The calculations of that made me worried, so I wanted to wash it all in one go. But I was also afraid of putting it in the machine, because that's a lot of fabric for a washing machine. I don't think that would have worked very well. So my husband helped me, and we filled up the baby bathtub. We soaked it in there, and hung all 12 meters up to dry on the clothesline. It was a struggle. It was fun, and it's mostly pre-washed. Not all of it actually got wet, and I don't think it shrunk at all, but the effort was made.